This is Rabbi Glasman from Kilda Shule. I wanted to just spare a thought for the families of the victims of the Christchurch massacre. We know that it's relevant today because I won't even mention his name, but the person who perpetrated this evil act, this evil incarnate, was sentenced obviously to life imprisonment, and I don't think there's anyone who's double guessing that sentence. It was just, and it was the only thing that could have done any justice, if anything ever could. But I wanted to refer you to the final area of the Torah portion this week where we speak about the nation of Amalek. Why were the Amalek nation considered so evil in the eyes of Judaism? It's not because they perpetrated evil acts. There were many nations who did that. But it's because they preyed on the weak and the vulnerable. They cut us off, the Jewish people, as we were traveling through the desert, and they waited till there were the weak ones who were straggling behind and caught them from surprise from behind and took their lives at that point. It was that form of the insidious evil, the one that preys on people when they're most vulnerable and when they're defenseless and when they're most weak, that is considered the pure evil that we talk about in Amalek. And that's exactly what this terrorist did. I'm ashamed to say that he was Australian, and I know that many Australians, or all Australians, feel the same way. But his evil lay in the fact that, like Amalek, he entered into a sacred space during a time of worship where people, where weaponry and defending themselves was the last thing on anyone's mind, and he cut them down, including children, in their most vulnerable state, when all they were doing was worshipping freely their God in a country that allows and celebrates our ability to be able to worship freely. I think every sane human and every single person who has a moral compass in their fiber, in their being, appreciates the depths of evil that this individual symbolized. This is not a new evil. It goes all the way back in time, all the way back to Amalek. But it is something that we must all learn from, and the only response to hatred is love, and the only response to division is compassion, and the only response to that evil is to open our hearts to every single person and acknowledge that ultimately we are all created in the image of God. With that note, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a wonderful Shabbat.